In this video, I'm going to show you how to use Edpuzzle to edit video clips, embed questions, and crop video clips so that they meet the needs of your students. We're going to start off at the home page. So on the home page, you'll see in the top right corner, 3 different tabs. We're going to click on My Classes. From here, I can look over to this left-hand side where I can add new classes. I can either create new classes or import them from Google Classroom. As far as I know right now, the district does not allow us the capability to import them through Google Classroom. So for the purposes of today, I'm going to create a new class. So for today, I'm going to create my 3rd period class. My 3rd period class, for example, may be a 7th grade science class. You can select whatever content area and grade level that you teach. From here, I'm going to select my class type. So I can either go with a classic class type, which allows you to go live with your students. This also allows you to track where your students are at with the different lessons that you've posted to Edpuzzle. So for example, on Edpuzzle, as long as students are creating accounts and signing in, you can actually track which students have watched the video and which students have responded to the embedded questions in the Edpuzzle videos. Another option is using an open class. So an open class format does not require the students to set up an account. They don't need anything other than the class code to join. However, you will not be able to track the individual students to see who has and has not completed assignments. It also will not allow you to grade the student's work because it'll generate a nickname for the student each time that they log in, or they'll create their own nicknames. Because I want to use this for the purposes of class and for grading, I'm going to go with the classic option. Once I've created my class, it'll populate over here on the left side, and you can see the different assignments that are posted here for that individual class. If I go to my 1st period, for example, I've already created a video and assigned it to those classes. It'll even give me due dates, and it'll allow me, once I've added students, to see what students are completing different assignments. If I go back to content, when I click on content, it brings me back to the home page. On the home page, I can see a lot of different videos that are posted by many other teachers. These videos can be used by me and assigned to my individual students, and I can even see the length of the video, the title, and then how many questions that teacher who's created this video on Edpuzzle has embedded within the actual video. It also allows me to pick from number of different channels that I can use as part of my Edpuzzle and that I can pick from that I can then edit. For the purposes of today, I'm going to go to YouTube and I'm going to type in the topic that I want to create a video on. I strongly suggest using YouTube separate from Edpuzzle to first figure out what video you want to utilize before you actually go into Edpuzzle and search for it. I already have an idea of what the video is that you want to use. I know this is the video I want to use because I've actually used it outside. And once I've selected on that video, I can actually play the video within Edpuzzle. So that is an option. It just goes a lot faster to use it through the YouTube URL. Once I've selected my video, I can scroll down to the bottom and I can actually see every other teacher that's used this same clip from YouTube and created an Edpuzzle video from that clip. So I can see Miss Higgins has created this video. I can look, the video is, let's see, the video is 3 minutes and 35 seconds in length. So I can see she's basically kept the video that it's full length. So have many of the other teachers. This teacher here is actually shortened. They've cut a portion of the video. And I can see exactly how many questions or notes the teachers have embedded within the video. So for the purpose of the day, I'm not going to use any of the videos that they've created, although I could do that and assign them to my own individual students. So I'm going to pick the video and I'm actually going to go to edit. I want to do something completely different with my video than all these other teachers. Within Edpuzzle, I have 3 different options. I can actually cut the video, meaning I can shorten its length and I can cut out different portions in the middle of the video. I can include a voiceover. So if I wanted to narrate a portion of the video, if I wanted to do a read along where it was, scrolling through a portion of text and I wanted to read over rather than the students having to read independently, I could do that. And then it allows me to embed questions. So I'm going to start with the cut feature. I would suggest you can go back and forth and cut and then add a voiceover and then questions all the way throughout. I would suggest doing all your cutting at once, doing all your voiceover at once, and doing all of your questions at one time. It just goes a whole lot faster. So once I've selected cut, I can go ahead and I can play my video.
Ecosystems are shaped by biotic and abiotic factors.
So the video is
going to play.
before
biotic factors like plants, animals, and fungi can become established, we need abiotic factors like sunlight, rain.
And so I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to scroll all the way down to 43 seconds and say here, I want to add a cut. I don't want the students to have to watch the portion of the video from 43 seconds on. So I select add cut, and it'll actually create a slice in the video at that exact moment. What I can do then is I can move the two ends of the cut, and I can edit where this video is going to cut. So for example, this video is going to play from 0 seconds all the way to 43. And then it's going to cut and jump straight from the 43-second mark, let's see here, to the about 50-second mark. So it's actually going to skip this whole portion here that's in this light gray color. So I've added that cut in, and say I want to actually shorten it. I want to cut off the last 20 seconds of the video. I can do that down here as well, and it'll actually roll the time for me here, and I can cut portions of the video. So once I finish all of my cutting, it's going to automatically save, and it'll show that to me up here. And I can go ahead and I can move on to my next editing feature, which is voiceover. So when you click voiceover, it's going to reload your video, and you're going to want to start playing.
We have big boots. Ecosystems are shaped.
So again, you're going to want to have a good idea of exactly when you want to include a voiceover. So I may, for example, know that I want to include a voiceover at the 30-second mark. So I just scroll to the 30-second mark. I'm going to hit the pause button, and I actually go over to this right-hand side, and I can click Start Recording.
Primary succession by visiting lava flows of different ages.
So what it's going to do is it's going to record whatever I said during that time. So maybe I wasn't prepared. Maybe I want the video to be a little bit quieter, so I can change my microphone. I can change my volume settings. But I can actually play back
Succession by visiting lava flows of different ages.
Exactly what I said. So in this case, I wasn't ready. I didn't record any of my voice, so I'm actually going to throw that one out. And I can restart my recording at maybe the 27-second mark. So again, I'm going to hit the Start Recording button. The first time you do this, when you're on the page, on the Edpuzzle page, it'll actually prompt you to give access to the website, to give it access to your microphone. So you are going to want to allow it to record you and allow it to access the microphone. So I'm going to start my recording, and in this case, I want to say pioneer species are the first species to take over an area following a disaster. So again, I can hit the play button, and it will re-record, it'll replay back whatever I've included in my voiceover. In this case, I don't want to review over that. It's exactly what I want. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to move on. Again, it will save automatically every time you make an edit. You do have the option to always throw it out and re-record yourself. So at this time, I'm done with my voiceover. I can see that it pops up here. Maybe I want to include one more voiceover down here at the 1 minute 46-second mark. Primary succession is the redevelopment of an ecosystem following a disturbance. Again, I would hit stop recording, and it will show me all of the different voiceovers, both here on the timeline of my video, but also over here on the taskbar. It'll show me all the different voice recordings I have and when they start at. So once I've done including my voiceovers, I have all of those events added to my video. I'm going to go through my final editing step, which is adding questions. So it gives you the option of several different question types. I can include multiple choice questions where I will need to set a correct answer, and it will actually grade those for me. I can also include open-ended questions. So this is a great opportunity to actually go through and get students feedback on different things. You can ask some more open-ended questions where students wouldn't have one straightforward answer choice, where you're trying to get a better feel of what their thinking is. So in the case of this video, I know that at 48 seconds, I want to embed a multiple choice question. And so once I select multiple choice, it's actually going to prompt me to type in my multiple choice question. So in this case, I'm going to ask, what is primary succession? Then it's going to prompt me to include answer choices. All right, so that's one of the answer choices. And then I can actually put in my other answer choice. So in this case, this is my correct answer. So I want to leave the check marked here. But say my first answer choice was not the correct answer. All I would do is click on the X and it will actually change the key of that question. And maybe I could make B my correct answer choice. In this case, that's not the correct answer. A is actually going to be the correct answer. I can also come down here and I can add additional answer choices if I would like. So you could utilize this for true, false, as well as multiple choice answers. Once I've completed that, I click save. It'll give me a preview of exactly what will happen as the students watch. So it'll actually play the video up until this point, and then it'll stop the video, pause it for them to answer this question. Once I'm satisfied with how my question is, I can go back and edit if I want to. I can toss out the question entirely if it's just not what I want, or I can click continue, which will save the question and embed it at that point in the video. So once I've selected that, I can go in and maybe at 1 minute and 15 seconds, I want to include an open-ended choice. So maybe my open-ended choice is, what are the pioneer species in primary succession? So this would prompt students to give an open-ended response. One way that we can see this being utilized is if you're doing pre-recording some videos and you're posting them to YouTube, you could always link the videos that you've already pre-recorded on YouTube to Edpuzzle, and then you would be able to embed questions that maybe have a numeric response. So if you're a math teacher and you want to utilize this for students to, once you've shown them a certain skill up until a certain point, you can stop the video and it can actually ask them to apply that skill, to actually calculate something. If you're a science teacher, you can use it the exact way that I'm using it here. If you're a reading language arts teacher, you could potentially, if the video is related to a topic, or if they're doing a read along in the video, you could prompt students with what they need to annotate their text with. Any of those would be great opportunities. So once I'm satisfied with my question, I'm going to click save. Again, it's going to give me a preview of the question, exactly how it's going to show up to students. I can either edit it or I can toss that question out. I can also have the option of adding another multiple choice question, open-ended question, or a note at this point in the video, and it'll stop and prompt them to do all of the questions at once. So maybe I wanted them to answer 2 or 3 different questions at this point. I could just come down here and add those in. At this point, though, I'm satisfied. I'm going to click the continue button, and it will continue playing the video. So now I've done cut. So I've cut my video to be the exact length and include the exact content I want. I've done a voiceover. So I've prompted students or provided them guidance or given them a clue as to what they're looking for in the video. And then I've also embedded questions. So once I'm satisfied with how I've edited my video, again, it's going to save automatically. I can come up here and I can enter the title. So maybe this is just the video they're watching on the day 1 of Succession. Once I've edited my title, I just click save. Again, it's going to save automatically. So at this point, I'm done editing my video. I've done all the changes I want to. This process would actually take a lot longer if you were doing this for the first time or doing this for your actual class. In this case, we're just doing a model. So then I'm going to click finish. It's going to show me all of the tasks, all of the student-facing tasks that need to be completed for the student to be considered complete in this video for Edpuzzle. And then it's going to give me some options. So I can either assign this video. That's going to take me over to my classes and it'll let me assign it to individual classes or all of my classes at once. I can go to edit, so I can actually go back and further edit it. Maybe I wanted 4 or 5 questions embedded within this video, so I can go back to edit. I can duplicate it if I want to differentiate it for different students, maybe provide more scaffolding, more questions, including voiceovers that do some more explanations, or I can delete. In this case, I want to go ahead and I'm going to assign this to my students. So for my classes, it's going to list all of my classes that I've created in Edpuzzle. So I can add it to one or all of my classes. And I can actually manually assign it to individual students. So in this case, I'm just going to assign it to all the students that are in my first period because I've not actually added any students. I don't have any classes that I teach. But once you've included all of your students, they've already accepted and created their accounts, you can manually assign it to just individual students who may need additional support or maybe they need an additional challenge. So once I've done that, I'm going to come over here and I'm going to create the start date. So I want this video, this Edpuzzle, to go live today. You do want to go ahead and create a due date for the assignment. It's not going to lock the students out of the assignment. They'll still be able to go in and answer these questions later on and access the video. This just gives them an idea of when you're expecting them to complete this assignment. My last 2 options that I need to determine if I want to use is the prevent skipping button. So what prevent skipping allows your students to do, or what it doesn't allow them to do, is skip ahead to just the questions. As you saw when we were editing the video, there are little bubbles, little circles down at the bottom that show students where the questions are embedded. Now, if you unclicked this button, the students would be able to go through and they'd be able to skip ahead to just the portions where the questions are, respond to those questions, and then move out of the video. If I prevent skipping, though, it's going to force the students to start from the very beginning of the video, and it's not going to allow them to move forward or to fast forward through to the questions. It's going to force them to watch the entirety of the video. They will be able to pause, then it will prompt them when they get to those embedded questions. The last option I have is the turn on closed captioning. You may want to do this for your students who are at home, maybe taking care of younger siblings, where there's a lot of noise in the background where they may not be able to hear everything necessarily, but they would be able to read all of the closed captionings at the bottom. Once I've completed all of this portion, I can go ahead and I can go to assign. And it's automatically going to assign that particular Edpuzzle lesson to all of the classes that I've clicked into. So once I've done that, this is exactly how this is going to show up in the student mode. They're going to see the Edpuzzle show up. They'll click on it and it'll actually begin the assignment. You have a couple of additional options over here, which is you can go live. So potentially if you wanted to do this as a class, you could click the go live feature to all of your students to be in Edpuzzle at the same time, and you guys could go through the video together as a class. So that is an option. It may not be the best option if you don't have students who can all get on at the exact same time. All right, so I can see Edpuzzle being a great tool if you're already utilizing video resources within your lessons. This just allows you to embed the questions so students are not having to toggle, say, between the video and a Google form that they're responding to, or the video and a Google Doc where they're having to address different questions that you have for the video. So it puts all of those things in one and allows you to edit that video down to have exactly the information you want your students to see.